Okay. Well, we've committed to a weekly show, so I'm here. Terrence Ganaway's here. I'll bring him in just a second. But I am out of things to say. I'm out of things to say. And I'm asking this evening, and I heard Cam Stewart say something similar on Locked on Baylor last night. If this is the lowest point in about a decade as a Baylor fan. I mean, goodness. I launched this podcast in 2017, which was a one-win football season. And I think I had way more fun talking about that football team than I'm having talking about this football team at this point. 2020 was rough. There was a collapse in 2022. It was rough. 2023 was awful. I think this is worse. I think last night was worse. When a team runs for 8.8 yards per carry in your building, your head coach confesses that you only ran one coverage all night and you still couldn't do that correctly. And Dave Aranda, I love you and I no longer believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you when you say, and he said it again last night, if you didn't see, man, I didn't see this coming. Really, really surprised. Couldn't have seen this coming. You say that every time we lose. Like you're shocked. You're shocked that Utah had better guys than you up front and ran the ball down your throat at will. I wasn't. I think a lot of us were not shocked, actually, that that's how that went. And I did the Green and Gold game day program for Rogue yesterday. And I said, man, there are 3 statistics that we're going to look at the end of the game. 3 statistics we're going to be able to look at and know whether Baylor won or lost besides the score. A, turnovers, which coming into the game yesterday, Baylor was 133rd in the nation out of 136 teams in turnover differential. Guess what? 2-0. You couldn't force a turnover again. And Sawyer Robertson played a poor game, including 2 bad interceptions. Okay. I said team rushing yardage. Baylor needs to be within 75 yards. I did not expect Baylor to outrush Utah yesterday, but I said Baylor needs to be within 75 yards because what that means is we've established the ground game. We're playing well up front, and we are limiting theirs because we know they're going to try to run the ball. Well, the differential here was, God, I don't even want to do the math. 380 to 133 on the ground. 250 yards. Right? And the other statistic coming into yesterday, when Sawyer Robertson's QBR was 75 or better, Baylor was undefeated. When it was under 75, Baylor didn't have a win. It was 66 yesterday. And I feel bad for the kid, man, because he has to play perfect or Baylor doesn't stand a chance. And he was far from perfect yesterday. So 3 stats I said before the game. These will determine the game. Turnover difference in rush yardage, Sawyer's QBR. We went 0 for 3. And sure enough, the scoreboard reflects it. 55-28 final. And Baylor not for a moment was in that ball game. In fact, I was the fool who got a little hopeful when Josh Cameron scored that touchdown right before halftime to make it, Terrence, what was it, like 28-18 maybe at that point, or 28-17 going into the half. And I was like, Okay, middle eight. Baylor's got a chance to win the middle eight. And what do we do to open the second half? Give up another long rushing touchdown, throw a pick six. I mean, yeah, man, it's deflating. It's deflating. I struggle to stay engaged. I struggle to care. And I'm a top 1% Baylor fan. I can't imagine how casuals feel. And I don't know what's happening inside that building. Oh, yeah. And this week, since Terrence and I talked a week ago about the AD being embroiled in an issue with a player and an assistant coach, well, he's got issues off the field in his personal life as well, and he's probably not coming back to Baylor. Like, I'm not breaking any news here. I would be shocked if Mack Rhoades is the AD at Baylor again moving forward. Don't know when that decision will be official. I have no inside info as to when or if that decision will happen. I'm just telling you, based on what I've heard, based on what you've probably heard at this point, it would be surprising. So thanks for chiming in. I see a lot of comments coming in on YouTube. If you're watching on X, jump over to YouTube. I have a feeling tonight I'm going to throw up these live chat comments a lot because I don't have a lot to say. Terrence probably has more to say than I do, but it's not a lot. But here was a good one. I'm hearing a lot of people ask this. Without an AD, can we still fire the coach? I don't know. That's kind of up to Linda Livingstone at this point, who my understanding is has really stepped in to take over the situation in a lot of ways. And by the way, I like her. I trust her. I know not everybody feels the same way. I like her a lot. There's a huge buyout to get Mack out. It's part of this. He signed a 10-year contract, 2-3 years ago. So you got to figure that out. But to answer the question, two schools of thought, and then I'll bring in Terrence to see what he thought. A, your issue with your AD could help you because you bring in a new AD and you just assume that they're going to want to bring in their own football coach. You could approach it that way. By the way, let me just throw two schools out there. Boise State and North Texas both have an AD and a football coach who are very desirable if you're Baylor. Most of you know who those guys are. The other school of thought, and I work with Pete Souza every day, and I work with Matt Mosley every day here at Rogue, and they both think this. This might buy Dave another year. It just might. Because if the Mack Rhoades stuff is what a lot of us think it is, he's not coming back to Baylor, and it's for off-the-field things. And you know what, Dave Aranda? He hasn't gotten anything right on the field this year, but you know what he's gotten right? Off the field. He's tremendous off the field. It's why it's so hard to be so critical week after week after week, is because I think we all like the man. And at this point, we're all over the football coach. But with what's happening right now with your AD, who he is as a man matters more than it did a week ago. I don't know what your school of thought is. I don't know where your brain is at today. Here's what I want you to do. Come over to YouTube. Please bear with me if you're watching on X. Chime into the live chat. We'll pull up the comments as we can. I'm going to bring in Terrence Ganaway because Lord knows I am exhausted and have nothing else to say about this. I'm so tired. I'm so sick of it. What do we do? By the way, we're not making a bowl game. Look at Arizona and Houston. We're not making a bowl game. Let's get to it. This is Please Bear With Me. Here we are. We're here. It's Please Bear With Me. My name's Scotty Swingler, here with Rogue Media Network, and my guy, Terrence Ganaway, longtime friend. You know him as the record-setting Baylor running back. Terrence, it is good to see you, man. I am not happy about the circumstances in which I'm seeing you this evening.
Scotty, we talked about this last week. Like, no one expected us to beat Utah. So, why is everyone up in arms? I mean,
It's funny. Terrence, you were my friend who hates losing more than anybody else I know, and you're gonna come out tonight and be like, "It's fine, guys."
No, it's not. It's not fine,
bro. I think here. I'll answer your question.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it is. Please bear with me. I think it is the manner in which it happened. Right. It was an embarrassing fashion by which to lose. 8.8 yards per carry. Their best player last night was their backup quarterback, bro. Pick six. And then again, and I said this in the open, your head coach after the game saying, I didn't see this coming. I'm so surprised. We're all so frustrated. We really want to win. And then saying, we only ran quarters coverage all night and we still didn't do that right. It's like, all right, Dave. At this point, are we even trying, bro? What? I think it's all the stuff, bro. It just keeps when you think it can't get more embarrassing, it gets more embarrassing.
I agree with you, Scotty. It's been a very embarrassing season. But then again, who expected us to beat Utah? Baylor started out playing pretty good. Defensively, at least. I thought we ran to the ball. I thought we maintained integrity in the pass lanes. And we got them off the field. The thing is we had a missed field goal, a drop, first down by Trigg, could have been a touchdown, a chance to put 10 points on the board, maybe even more, but we go 3 and out. Really, we go 3 drives without getting anything out of it. So the first quarter was a wash. Then they go down and score a late 3rd and short pass to the sideline. Everyone and their mom could see that coming. And it's a pick 6, and now it's 14 points to wrap up the first quarter. And I think that gave them a ton of confidence to move forward with how they were going to attack Baylor. I think the most frustrating part about last night is we had plays drawn up to beat them. Sawyer Robinson was the 3rd best QB on the field last night.
Yep.
And when you think about them having zero help, they were in cover 1 with a safety very, very far in the middle of the field, which essentially just takes a guy out of the play. West Virginia used to run this defense against us as well back when Holgorsen was there. And it just you're playing 10 on 11 and you're bound to get beat. You're planning on not giving up the home run shot. Well, they didn't have to last night. They could have just used that 11th player on the bench because we wasn't throwing home run balls. We were throwing balls that are underthrown, behind them, late, and Sawyer was not just off in the deep game. He was off in the medium and the short game as well. And when you think about when you go against a top-ranked team coming to your house, you have to be able to hit the plays that the defense gives you. And defensively, our run fit from the safety position is horrendous.
Yep.
There were several plays that ended up in large touchdown runs where we had everybody where we should have had them. But then you have a safety jump outside, no gap integrity, and then it's a foot race. Then we had one guy that actually caught up to the quarterback, and he got stiffed arm out of the way. And then the quarterback gets the longest rush of the season at 70 yards. And so you're like, man, what are we even doing at this point? I talked to a good friend of mine, well-known at Baylor, this past weekend. And, I'm of the mindset that you got to fix it. Like, it's not going to fix itself. So we have to be a little bit more invasive, meaning we got to make a move. And he's of the mindset like, I don't want to hire in this hiring cycle, which I would agree with him. And then I say, if I hire a CFO and we're losing money, we got to fire the CFO. He doesn't know what he's doing. If I hire a COO to streamline operations and operations get more wonky, we got to fire the COO. We hired a defensive coordinator that has given up the most yards rushing, the most points scored allowed in almost every game this season to our opponents. Auburn rushed for 307 against us. They never touched 300 again. SMU was second most going into the weekend. I think they just outrushed Boston College this past weekend. But if you go down the line, Utah, they had one fundamental game plan. Dampier can't throw. His legs are not as electrifying as the backup true freshman. So let's give the true freshman some burn. And let's just see if the ball he hit just Scotty, I don't know. I think y'all expected to lose the game, to your point. The way we started out gave me some false hope. And one I didn't like very well last night. Since sleeping on it, I should have never had the hope in the first place. But one that I was very frustrated. I thought we could keep the game close. We made it 28-20. We got to score points. If you're playing a team that's ranked and you're battling to save a coach, you got to score points. And our run offense wasn't very efficient last night. And then you see what we did the very next drive is give up a big long touchdown. It's frustrating to see. I know you're jumping back on the screen, but
yeah, and everybody in the comments seems frustrated. I see a lot of chatter about specific players, a lot of good points. Yeah, and Terrence, I think what sucks, and broken record, we say this every week, is seeing the guys that care. And Dave even said this in the post game. Seeing the guys that care and have given a lot to this program go out like this sucks. It royally sucks. I'm thinking about Josh Cameron, man. That guy, his whole career at Baylor, has done everything right on the field, off the field, making plays, fighting every down, blocking downfield, running good routes. Even last night, like the only, I don't mean to exaggerate, but in some ways, the only guy seemingly keeping us in that game for a minute was Josh Cameron. And I hate it for him. Someone pointed out here, Jackie Marshall on one of those long runs, like almost chasing the guy down from his interior defensive line position. Has given so much. And I hate that he goes out like this. Sawyer, man, he played poorly last night. But by all accounts, everything you want in a Baylor quarterback, off the field, had an outstanding year last year. Legitimately, in week 4 this season, is in the Heisman Trophy conversation, which now looks foolish, obviously. But he was legitimately right there. And, you know, I hate this for him. I hate this for these guys. And I give props to, man, I hate it for Baylor students, Terrence. I hate it for Baylor students. Like, props to all those students that went up in the top of the stadium and did the tarpless, swinging the shirts, getting loud. The loudest that stadium's been since opening night against Auburn. And injecting some energy into a stadium that otherwise, for most of the season, has been a dead place. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for And it's gotta change, bro. Like, I don't know how you do another year of this, Terrence. And as a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of people pointing this out in the comments. The real dagger, in my opinion, what should be the real dagger to the Dave Aranda tenure. None of these guys, this roster is going to have so much turnover next year. I don't know how it gets better. It could just potentially be worse. Like someone's pointing out in here in the comments, Bryson Washington hasn't helped his NFL draft stock this season, mostly because he's been hurt. But why would he stay? Like, why would he stay? And every other playmaker on your team, they're graduating. Like, they're done. Like, so Terrence, like, what is there to look forward to if you're a Baylor football fan?
I think we understand and know what that is. We don't have a game plan. We don't have a idea. And so when you put together what we've seen the last 3 years and say, hey, we want to be better than ever next year, not with this level of coaching. Dave Aranda is a great guy. There's a lot of great people on the staff. Families that have grown to love Baylor, love Waco. It's a tough job. It's a very tough job to win. A very tough job to motivate kids in this era of NIL. It's very tough. But when you think about how inconsistent, I've said this for the last few weeks, there's not one group on the field that has gotten better as the season progressed. I know you were very high on Sawyer all year in the spring. And I said second year OC, second year quarterback, there's some consistency. Like maybe we get it right. And then I also said that I think Sawyer needed Spaff more than Spaff needed Sawyer. And right now, everything is going horrendously wrong. The AD is on leave. The head coach is on the fence. He's pleading in the media last Monday that we have to win these 3 games, and we put together a performance where you got a veteran safety jumping outside of his run gap. Run fit is everything as a safety, especially if you're playing quarters. I mean, it is very like this is my job. If I feel and the running back bounces, we got someone out there to and just never happen. And we're chasing people up and down the field. I think if I just go back, and I don't want Baylor to lose, but if we go back and we lose against SMU and Kansas State, which Kansas State, that win is even more unbelievable as I think through it. SMU, we got some really good stops. We beat them. We went into overtime. We took the game, and we won. But if we lose those 2 games, we're not even – Mack Rhoades is still in seat, and Dave Aranda is gone. But those 2 games has balked him the end of the season. And so as difficult as it may sound, the next 2 games may buy him another season. And it's super frustrating to like think about because you're losing everybody. I think you lose your OC.
Yeah.
I think even in a year like this year where offense is not really great and you have some struggles, I think Spaff could probably get a job. There's going to be so many vacancies for people being promoted. And if you're Spaff and Arkansas calls and says, we need an OC, why not go be an OC at Arkansas?
Yep.
Why not go be an OC at Auburn, LSU? Especially knowing that you may have half a season in 2026. There's nothing we can do to fix it. And Dave Aranda doesn't seem, when I say this, I'm not talking about his intellect, but he doesn't seem competent enough to do what is necessary to right this ship. He doesn't have a culture guy. When you think about 2021, when we were winning, we had Joey Maguire on the staff. Now, Joey did leave early. Joey Maguire was on the staff. And I know players that played under Joey. I talked to Joey while he was at Baylor. Like I know what type of person he is. He's going to drag you out of your car and he's going to put those hands on you. And I thought we had that same level of intensity in 2021. And the further we get away from Joey, the more this thing looks like it's been burning and sinking for a very long time. I mean, this is 4 years now. 2021 was a very long time ago in this era of holding college coaches. And I don't know if you can do it anymore. Who do you go get? I have no idea. Do you have an AD that is not in the position to make the hire? My thought is, under this leaf, they're trying to figure out stuff. Is it firing for cause or whatever? I don't think Mack Rhoades lasts a month. I think he is let go within the next 10 days.
Yeah.
Then you got to have a head coach that is fired within the next 15 days. And you got 2 weeks, you got to play that, and then, relieve the duties on the Sunday after, 2 weeks from today, if you will. And once that's over, then you hire an AD, and you better dang sure know that if the AD is coming, he has already looked at the top 5 candidates that's going to be a good cultural fit for Baylor. I don't envy Baylor in this search. I don't envy Baylor, Linda, or the board in doing the right thing. I hope they do. I hope they take a good long think at it, because if they don't, it could go bad for years, and I just don't think Baylor fans are ready for that. Like, we're not Nebraska where no matter what, we're going to fill 80,000 people in the stands.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That's already happening this year. People have already quit.
You keep doing this and doubling down on just mediocre ball, you're going to have a lot of people not show up. I mean, look what's happening at basketball. We got 2 winning programs right now, and we still can't fill the gyms. I don't think you want to have that problem in football. You're breadwinner. And so I don't know, Scotty.
No, and to be fair to basketball, the moment Big 12 play starts, that building is going to be full. It is. But you're right. And I think the timeline you just laid out is a good one, and the urgency at which the administration and Linda Livingstone, who I've been told is aggressively taking leadership in all of this.
She has to. She's been thrust into this role.
Correct.
Like I said.
And by the way, is better equipped than most university presidents because of her background in athletics to handle it well, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I don't know her background. I know what needs to happen is you got to get these. These are the 2 biggest hires in. And we probably said this after Art Browse is the
Correct.
AD and
Correct.
the head football coach, the 2 biggest hires in school's history. These next 2 are going to be up there, if not the biggest. But like I said, I would assume they're reviewing. General counsel is reviewing if there is a breach of contract or is there anything we can fire Mack Rhoades for cause. And if they could, they will. Maybe still have to pay him some. I don't know. But they're going to pay him some money, I'm sure. And then they're going to have to fire him and pay fire Aranda and pay him some money as well. And Baylor doesn't have loan money. We talked about that last time. We got a lot of people that donate to Baylor, and I feel like it's always the same few names, those big top donors. Scotty and I haven't pledged our first million yet, but maybe we should be in line for that. I think, like I said, I think in 2 weeks, all of this, AD and if we lose the next 2 games, AD and the head football coach is gone. AD is announced within 3 weeks. Head football coach is announced before December 15th.
Yeah, and I think Terrence, for those that are really discouraged, I think the good news here, if I'm going to be optimistic, is, and I believed this well before this week, but I have heard more things. I think you've heard some of the same things in the past week or two. For a lot of really talented ADs and football coaches, Baylor is an attractive place. I am not sitting here delusional thinking Baylor is Texas. I'm not, but for a lot of really gifted, competent, capable, talented people, Baylor is a desirable place to be. For some of them, it's because it is a place of faith, and that's a big deal. For some of them, it's because they want to be in Central Texas. And yeah, if you're not going to be at A&M or UT, you can do great things at Baylor. We've had multiple ADs with national championships at Baylor. Multiple football coaches win Big 12 championships at Baylor. You can still do that at Baylor, even in the era of NIL. You can. And I think a lot of people see the jobs that way. So, Terrence, I think, and I am being optimistic, and maybe I'll be proven to be wrong, but I really don't think I will be. If Baylor were to move in that direction as you described within that timeline, I think a month from now, we could be very pleased with who is our AD and who is our head coach and the potential of the direction after that.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
But it will be the exact opposite effect if there isn't some urgency and some steps taken and maybe some new perspective in the building in a month. Then we will all feel deflated in a huge way. Go ahead.
Baylor's only desirable to the candidates that want to come to Baylor. I don't think we're desirable to everyone.
I didn't say to everybody. I said to many people.
I think there's probably, with the coaching cycle we have this year, I bet you we're less desirable than many would think. I think it's a great school. I love Baylor. You love Baylor. I'm going to be a realist here. There's a house down the street with a pool in the backyard, a basketball court in the backyard, and a 50-yard turf field. And we're just a house in the cul-de-sac. And if you want to be in the cul-de-sac, I think, hey, we can get you some good deals on the HOAs, but we're not going to have a community pool. We're not going to have the parade running through our street during holidays. And for certain candidates, that's okay.
Right.
But when you look at us versus LSU, Kentucky, Auburn, Kentucky still has their coach, but LSU, Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, Florida State, Oklahoma State, which I think would be on par with what someone would want in Waco as well. But there's a lot of great jobs, and they're going to get cream of the crop. For G.J. Kinney, yes, Baylor's an ideal place. Jeff Traylor, Baylor's an ideal place. Eric Morris, he's going to have options, but maybe he prefers the cul-de-sac. There's guys. I think a name that may make sense for Baylor in the short term, we know we're going to get culture for him, and maybe he can buy us time. Probably no one wants to hear this. Gary Patterson.
Yep. Yep.
on the market,
I don't think you're crazy for that.
but probably okay. He's had the big time experience. He's went and helped other head coaches out. He's been down in Texas. He's been in Waco for a little bit.
And by the way, he would love
Waco, cul-de-sac living.
He would love to stick it in the faces of some people from 11, 12 years ago if he comes to Baylor and wins a championship. He would. He is that kind of person. We had him on the Mosley show a few weeks ago before the Baylor TCU game, and he was great. And Matt asked him about the location of his statue on campus. And I quote, Gary Patterson said, well, right behind the statue is the AD's office. And I made sure we placed it to where every day that AD has to look out the window at my rear end. I love that. That's who Gary Patterson is, by the way.
Yeah. He's a cul-de-sac living coach. Like he doesn't care about fancy drapes. He doesn't care about half court basketball. He cares about winning football games. Coming home every night, suit and tie, buttoned up, discipline, and playing good defense. And he's a defensive-minded guy. He's won at TCU in this era of spread football. So he knows what to do on defense. The fact that we got a guy that doesn't know what he's doing, it drives me nuts every single week.
Yep.
But him
and by the way,
Meyer, some of these other guys.
And by the way, a comp, if Gary Patterson's an option for those of you out there, the comp of another coach who's won championships in this era who might see Baylor as desirable is Mike Gundy. The biggest difference between the two of those guys being that Patterson supposedly came in here and fixed our and oh my gosh, Jacob, this is the second time we've been saying the same thing at the exact same time. You and I are on the same wavelength tonight. Thanks for your comments. Gary Patterson supposedly came in here last year and fixed our NIL. Like, that's what Aranda has given him the most credit for, is that Gary Patterson walked into our building and straightened out how we do NIL and portal. Whereas Gundy, again, just because I'm making the comparison of guys that have won championships in this conference recently, Gundy has completely failed out because he can't handle portal and NIL. So Gary, and yeah, I'm seeing some comments about Kenny. Does he want to coach? Does he align with Baylor? I hear you. But to Terrence's point, the guy would bring winning culture, and I do believe he can handle the NIL portal kind of modern era things better than a lot of those other old school guys.
Let me tell you this: Gary aligns with the board. He aligns.
Tell us about that. I think there's probably a lot of skeptics of that. So say more about that.
Gary has relationship with our board members, and I'm speaking. Under Mac Rose or Dave Aranda, if he doesn't have a relationship. Those relationships, Aranda and Patterson don't have a long history, at least in the Big 12 they don't. So for him to come in and help, that means someone felt like Gary Patterson fit a need, and then he came here and then he did what he needed to do, and then he left on his own accord. But to say that we're not a lot, guys, one, including me, we don't really know what the board wants to do. They have their own agenda. But I can tell you this much. The board does want to win football games. They do want to have an atmosphere. Go sit in the suites. Go sit in the suites, man. You think the stadium is empty. There's people paying millions of bucks to have suites, and they're not even going to the game. You don't think the board wants to fix that? Because when you start taking money off the table, it affects how NIL happens. And another thing I would say that Gary may seem like an easy layup in my head at least, but if you don't have an AD and you hire Gary Patterson, maybe you give him a 3 to 5 year deal, something very short, and you hire AD to like, hey, let's just put up with him for a couple years, and maybe we have a coach in waiting. But it gets us through this just sorry stretch of football, and it buys us 2 years. Maybe he brings in a coach that he develops and he walks away from it all. But I can tell you right now, if you think that we're going to get cream of the crop, we're going to have to settle. And I'm not saying settle as in Gary Patterson is not a great coach or a good coach, but we will definitely have to settle for a Gary Patterson-like in this coaching cycle, or you're pulling up someone who's had a very challenging time this year, who is thought to be the next guru, G.J. Kinney, Jeff Traylor, but those names are not very hot right now. I say go get James Morrison, James Madison's head coach right now. It worked out for the last guy that left there, and but right now we are, our hands are tied. But like I said, I think Mack Rhoades is done in Waco. I don't think a lot of people are probably looking at Gary Patterson, but if I'm Baylor, I take a safe pick and I get him on a 3 to 5 year contract. Save money. He's going to bring in local staff. He knows Texas high school football. He's going to be able to recruit. He understands NIL. He's been down in Texas, so he understands what Texas is doing well with getting some of those athletes. And there's a lot of money flowing through Baylor. The facilities are top-notch. The game day atmosphere is top-notch. We just got to get a coach that's top-notch, and we don't have it right now.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. Here's my commitment. I'm seeing some names coming up in the chat. I'm seeing some other ideas. I actually have an article about 80% done that is 30 names that Baylor needs to consider for its next head coach. I made a commitment that I'm not going to publish that unless Dave Aranda is terminated. So it's good content, but frankly, Terrence, if the season goes the way I think it's going to go, we're about to lose 2 games to much better teams. We're going to miss a bowl, and that content is perfect. You know, the Sunday after Houston, if and when Dave Aranda's let go. So thanks for the comments. Terrence, I've got nothing else to say, man. I'm embarrassed. I'm deflated. I consider myself to be in the very upper echelon of Baylor fans, and I'm like exhausted, man. And so to your point about, goodness, how do people feel when they've spent lots of money with this program, whether it's for suites, for NIL? I can't imagine. I cannot even put my head in that space. And I hope that prompts a change, bro. I hope that prompts a change.
Baylor doesn't need much, man. Baylor last night were a couple run fits and a couple of touchdown bombs away. I mean, just think about it, Scotty. Last night we could have had a 2015-16-esque, 2014-2013-esque offensive performance last night, and we just couldn't even get the ball there, bro. But I agree with you. I don't have much to say either. Matter of fact, I'm done saying it. I think you can only call for someone's job so much until people just tune you out. But Baylor, there's no way he gets fired within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless there's something egregious, he plays it out. And if he wins 2 games, you have a 7-5 head coach, a disappointing season again. But I think he stays. So if you're a Baylor fan, good luck rooting for Arizona and Houston while watching Baylor not play well. But honestly, that's what a lot of the fans have kind of resorted to. Like, I don't want to see Baylor lose, but we need something so drastic that a change is made. And if he keeps it close, he keeps his job.
There you have it. Terrence Ganaway, Scotty Swingler here. I think we're gonna wrap it up for the evening. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of it. So
Bear the truth, trash. The locker room, trash.
Man.
Everybody's pointing fingers, trash. You got people not doing assignment football, trash. If the next head coach got to come here, and maybe we got some guys that know football, just aren't playing good defensive football. And I hate to call out a player here, but Devin Bobby gave up 2 touchdown runs yesterday when he was in perfect position to make the play. Like, you cannot – that is coaching at its finest. For a guy who is veteran, that knows football, that's played good ball, tackling, running to the ball, side to side, sideline, he's going to make that play. On the blitz, he's going to make that play. But when all you have to do is you're playing quarters and you got gaps in front of you, this is the problem with what I have with Aranda is when you're looking at the game film and you're in an over and under front, meaning the defensive tackle, the strong side defensive tackle is shaded in the 3, or he's in an inside technique between the center and the guard. When you're in an over and under front, it is critical for these safeties to know where everybody's going on run fits. It is critical. My uncle Jeremiah Trotter, we're talking about Missouri last week. We're going back and forth, and we're sending messages to each other because Missouri was playing a tight game against A&M, and then the game broke away from them. But it's 3rd and 2, and they go to nickel package, and the safety comes down in the Mike linebacker position. And he doesn't know the gap responsibility. They're in a 3 technique. He's playing in like a 4-eye, maybe a 5. Instead of bouncing into the A gap, which he has as the Mike linebacker, he gives up a touchdown run. It's 3rd and 2. Like, they stop him. They're back in the game. Now, Missouri's offense is trash and not very good. But, maybe next year, Scotty, like, we get on here and we break down film, because this stuff is so elementary and foundational. As a safety in the Big 12 or Power 4, you have to know where run fits you have, and you have to stick to them. If they score every touchdown run outside of your responsibility, we're going to replace the cornerback. We're going to replace the outside linebacker. We're going to replace, but your job is secure. For the life of me, if whoever our safeties coach is, if he goes to practice today or film and he doesn't put a fire under number 3, then that's all we need to know about the culture in the locker room and what's happening there. But we're a couple of run fits away and a couple of thrown, misthrown, overthrown, underthrown balls away from routing Utah. I mean, it wouldn't have been a close game. We left 5-6 touchdowns on the board. If we catch them in stride, touchdown. I've seen Jay Lee make several of those catches. Levi Norwood, Terrence Williams, Tevin Reese, Antoine Goodley. I mean, we can go down the list of guys. All you got to do is throw it. You got speedsters on the team. Throw the ball up. They're going to run under it. And we didn't even do that. So it's coaching on both sides of the ball. That's why I wasn't, really a fan of, fire Dave Aranda and get Spavital, because it's a culture issue and it's a discipline issue, and we don't have much of both, which is why we're 5-5. Yes, I expected us to lose to Utah last night, but we didn't lose because they were just better than us. We lost because they outcoached us and they executed. I'm talking about bump and run coverage against Hawkins, guys, what's the number 2? I can't even think of his name right now.
Cole Wilson.
Cole Wilson. We didn't even see Prentice last night. Josh Cameron. You got man-to-man coverage. Heck, I'm 37 years old. You put somebody lined up on top of me, man-to-man coverage with no help. I'm saying throw the ball up and let me go get it. Like, it is no way you have this receiving core. And if they want to do that, let's put freaking our running back from Oklahoma, number 22, over there, and let him run against a outside middle linebacker. If they're going to play man across the board, motion him out there and throw him a fade route. But
by the way, I saw multiple people pointing this out and saying, it looked like there were lots of plays where our receivers did that, and we couldn't get them the ball.
We didn't get them the ball.
Right.
I mean, when I say Sawyer was the third best quarterback, if there was another quarterback that came in the game, he would have been the fourth best quarterback. Like, he played terrible. I argued with a buddy a couple of weeks ago about his deep balls and how we don't throw the ball deep and then we're protecting them. And he's like, oh, we played against Oklahoma State. He's like, oh, throw the ball deep, Terrence. Look at Coach Terrence. But when you see what we've done, a lot of Sawyer's passes are under 10 yards from the line of scrimmage in the air. And then we break a tackle and then we go do what we do because we got talented guys. Last night, I mean, bro, let someone throw the ball far and long, just throw it. Step through the throw, not off your back foot. I mean, the commentators were saying it last night. He was rushed, he was rattled, and I've been saying this all year long that when it's not a timing route, 1, 2, 3 balls out, Sawyer is off schedule, he's off target, and he is very generic. And I never believed in the hype of a Heisman candidate. I never believed in the hype as the top quarterback in the country because if you sit there and watch film, forget about stats. We had Jackson Posey on here earlier this year, and we went back and forth. Oh, he did this against these teams. Forget about stacks. A team that worry about the stacks right now, Dallas Cowboys. Dak is doing whatever he can to be a stats quarterback. You will trade stats for wins every single day.
Yes, sir.
And we're not doing that. I don't care about stats. It's like most coaches don't care about stats. They care about wins and losses. They keep it ugly. And we don't do that. And yes, Bryson Watson and Mom getting on. Mom, he finally got healthy. He looked as fresh as anybody last night. It being the 10th game of the season. But he hasn't been healthy. So we got to get him healthy or we won't have a career ever. So we got to get him healthy. He's already got miles on him. The way he runs very aggressive. He's a hard-nosed runner. He's going to take more beatings than most. So we got to get him healthy. Anyways, man, I already said I don't have much to say. And then someone asked me about the locker room. Guys, these guys are done. A way that you can tell the guys are done is the body language that is allowed on the field. The body language is allowed on the field. Wilson catches a touchdown and then he gets up in the guy's face. Bro, you're down 20 points. Like, the touchdown doesn't matter. You're padding the stats. Now Hawkins is not going to play the first half of the next game because of discipline issues. I don't know if we had a late hit last night because we really didn't tackle anybody, but if we would have tackled anybody, we would have had a late hit penalty, which is another discipline issue. Anyways, man, it goes back to this team is not it's not well coached. And I don't care if you're just a fan or you want Baylor to succeed. You cannot win football games like this. And when you have a head coach that comes to the media and say, we're so close, I thought we did this, he is in over his skis and you need to get him off the mountain or put him on the black slope so he can crash and burn. But get him off the green one, the kiddie one. Like we got to. He's over his skis. He does not know what he's doing. If we come to it, it's like I did not expect this. You coach a defense and you gave up the most rushing yards that Utah has had all year long. You expect, but coach, and they have. I'm this guy. Yeah, I believe he is a cancer. Y'all need to stop coming in the dang chat, bro, because I'll be reading those and now I get all excited. And Scotty, get back on camera, man, so I can close this out, man. I'm just frustrated. Bear the truth, whoever that is.
That's my friend. That's my friend.
Tonight.
Hey, that's my buddy Brian. He's a good guy. And Brian, we got to go.
He's great.
We got to go to Southern Roots again, man. We get some pizza, grab a brew, hang out. While I'm advertising for Southern Roots, they're not paying me. You know who is a supporter of this show? Gather. It's always difficult to do this backwards, but here it is. Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath. Thank you for your support. Please bear with me. If you're in Central Texas and you need a remodel, they specialize right now in these outdoor spaces, whether you want like a patio where you can do the fire pit deal, or you want an outdoor kitchen, or you want, man, if I had that millions of dollars that Terrence wants me to give to Baylor, and I have none of it, to be clear, but if I did, what I would want is an outdoor space to watch football, man. I would love some outdoor furniture, good television. Man, I need that. So call Gather & Co. Let them remodel your kitchen, your bath, your outdoor space. That's who you call if you're in Central Texas. Tell them Scotty sent you. Tell them Rogue Media sent you. That would mean a lot to me if you and your family are thinking about doing that. Terrence, you're the man. Appreciate you. We got a couple more weeks to do this. Bear the truth. Don't worry about calling out Trig. I've got stories about Trig I'm not sharing on this podcast, and I might share them after the season. There are more problems there than you are even aware of. I will just say that.
And anyone that's watching, like, guys, there's a kid in the seventh grade. He made the basketball team. I get to hoop with these guys, and my son works out with them every once in a while. And, I was like, are you starting? He's like, no, I'm not playing this week. I'm freaking in detention hall, so I can't play. I'm like, what are you in detention for? He's like, I don't know why I'm in detention. And like, kid said, no, that's not true. And I said, how tall is your dad? My dad's 5'10". How tall is your mom? My mom's 5'2". I'm saying, listen, bro. If a college coach comes to your school, he thinks that you can play for him. He thinks you can play for him. So if he comes to your school, he's trying to find out why you shouldn't play for him. So he's going to go to your coaches. He's going to go to your teachers, and he'll get. Somebody up to school, no, class clown. He doesn't do his homework. He fails all the time. We have to babysit him. They're not going to take you as a project at 5'10" or 6 foot if you want to play basketball. So you have to be the best of the best. You have to do everything right. And then you got to hope that someone just takes a chance on you. And most likely they won't. But you will not have a chance if you don't do everything right. Trig is, if evaluation holds up, and I don't want to talk ill will about anybody, but the truth of the matter is if evaluation holds up, he's a top talent. Locker rooms, he's a 5th round, 6th round pick. I'm not going to invest multi-year project with a guy who visibly has tantrums on the field and on the sideline. He's not a Dez Bryant talent. We'll excuse it with Dez Bryant. He's very talented. He's a mismatch problem. Energy and effort is hit and miss between series, not games. This series going this way in the win, he's great. Going against the win, he's the worst. And you don't think a scout is looking at that? They're going to say, yeah, he's talented. Yes, he is. He's going to be sitting at home in 2 years telling everybody about, how he did this and how he could have, but no one really, thought. No, bro, don't lie to people. Isaac Williams was a running back at Baylor when I was there. We're driving to eat after practice one day. He said, man, you know what? My grandmama said you can lie to everybody in the world, but you can't lie to the person in the mirror. It's time for Trig to look in the mirror. And if he wants to have a long career after college, he's going to have to be very honest with himself, or he's not going to play football very long. And teams are going to sign him, and they're going to bounce around, and they're going to just wave him, sign, because they're not going to want to deal with it. You cannot deal with that at that level. And I wish Baylor never did either, because when you have a guy like that, it corrodes what little culture Dave Aranda tries to build when you let him get away with murder. And I'm sure he hasn't murdered anyone. It's a figure of speech. But anyways, Scotty, get me off this mic.
All right, we'll get you off the mic. I'm going to get off the mic. And thank you so much for joining us again. If you're on X, come like and subscribe on YouTube. That helps us out. For Terrence Ganaway, my name is Scotty Swingler. We'll be back at 5 o'clock next week. Baylor plays Arizona on Saturday. We didn't even get into that. Arizona, if you live under a rock, weren't paying attention, whatever, they went into Cincinnati, where Baylor went a few weeks back, and they whooped Cincinnati. It actually was a pretty close game. But
I think it's Cincinnati's first loss to an unranked opponent since like 2011 or 2012 at home.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
That was a big game for Arizona, and they're coming to town next week.
Arizona's going back to their house juiced, and we're going to their house deflated. So we will see how that goes. If you want more preview for that game, you can catch us on Rogue Media, Matt Mosley Show, Pete Souza Show. Green and Gold Game Day will be live 2 hours prior to kickoff. You can find all that stuff on YouTube. We've got content for you every day. All right. I'm going to get off the mic, too. For Terrence Ganaway, my name is Scotty Swingler. We really appreciate you. Sick 'em Bears. We love Baylor. We want what's best for Baylor football. It's a rough time. We're going to make it through it together. Talk to you next.
We are Rogue Media Sports.